So on to our third example. Now our third example, if you can see, this time they have given us the h and they have given us the slant height. But one thing that we're missing here is our base. Okay, so we don't know what that is. So that's the first thing that we're going to have to figure out is our base for this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out that right angle triangle. And we have 6 and we have 10, and this time we have to find our base. So again, we have to use Pythagorean theorem. Anytime you see that kind of triangle, you know that the chances are you have to use it. And so this time I know the hypotenuse, okay? So I'm going to go b squared, hold on, get my pen in the right spot. B squared is going to equal our c squared minus our a squared. So I rearranged the formula right away. So that's 10 squared, or 100, minus 6 squared, which is 36. And when we do that, we end up with 64. So if we take the square root of 64, it is a perfect square, so our base is 8. Now what we can do is we can actually go and calculate everything that we need. Okay, so the first thing, okay, so this is what we found here was our b value. Now, when we're looking at this, let's take a closer look. Now, does that B, it doesn't run the whole length here. So really what we have here is half of our actual base, right? So the actual base of this pyramid is going to be 2 times our 8, which is 16. So we're going to use that in our calculation. So let's look at our volume again. So our volume equals 1/3 b squared h. Now the b here, remember, is not this b, it's two of those. So we have 1/3 16 squared plus 6. And we bring up our calculator, and I'll show you how I do that. And so we're going to go 1 divided by 3 times our 16 squared, and you maybe are doing that in your head, and that's fine, times 6. So we end up with 512. And we're looking at volume, so it's going to be our units cubed, so meters cubed. Now the surface area, okay, now surface areas formulas are usually a little bit longer, and just like this one. So it's going to be the base of our pyramid squared plus 2 times the base times the slant height. So we're doing 16 squared plus 2 times 16 times our slant height, which is 10. Okay, so we have 256 plus 320 for a grand total of 576, and it will be meters squared because it's surface area. Okay, notice what I did as far as mathematical form went. I've always put my formula followed by my substitution of numbers followed by my calculations. And I did that everywhere. Now, because the question asked for volume and surface area, and I had to calculate something using Pythagorean theorem, know that I notice that I put it slightly to the side. It still has very good form. I made a picture, and I also did the formula, substituted in, and then my calculations. Okay, that just gives strengthens your mathematical communication. Okay, the last example we're going to look at is a sphere, and again, very, very easy in the sense that there's nothing else for us to calculate. We have our radius. So if we look at our volume is going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. Again, you don't have to memorize these. The number of times I've used the volume formula for a sphere in everyday life, I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the last time I did that. Okay, and our radius is 3 cubed. Now what I'm going to show you, and just to kind of review, on your calculator, if I want to cube something, there will be a button. On my graphing calculator, it's this little caret button. It's called a caret button. On other calculators, it's something different. So just to the side, just so that you understand where the power button is. So your power button will be either, oops, sorry, when I get to the side, it doesn't want to go the way I want. So on my graphing calculator, it's this. On some graphing calculators, it is this, scientific, I should say, and some calculators, it's this. Okay, so it'll look like one of those. All right, so I'm going to take my calculator and I'll show you exactly what I do. So I'm going to do 4 divided by 3, oops, not by 6, by 3, times pi times 3 to the power of 3, which is 27. So I end up with 113.1 meters cubed. And again, the surface area is just a matter of taking the formula. So the surface area is 4, not 4/3, just 4 pi r cubed. Okay, and when we do that, we have 4 times our pi times r, sorry, that should be squared. Sorry, squared would be 3 squared. Again, we pull out the calculator, and when we calculate it, amazingly, guess what? It's 113.1 meters squared. And you're saying, I don't believe you, Mrs. Broadhagen. Well, let's go and try that again. Let's clear this. So 4 times pi times 3 to the power of 2 equals. Amazing. It's the same. Is it always the same? I don't know about that. Something for you to test out yourself. Okay, so there's some questions for you to do for your mathematical enjoyment tomorrow in class.